everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. So today, we're stepping right into a beautifully colorful, rhyming storybook. It's just filled with feathers, fur, and literally tons of silly surprises. We're going to dive into this brilliant little poem called Rony Crow's Garden, where animals do the absolute wackiest things. Let's uncover the story, the rhymes, and all the wonderful little lessons hiding right there in the dirt. But before we jump into that first patch of grass, I've got to ask you a huge question. Are you ready to meet Rony Crow and his zany friends? You might want to get your listening ears ready, because a whole parade of animals is about to bounce, splash, and squawk their way into view. So get ready, get set, let's turn the page. All right, check out our star, Rony Crow. Do you see him there with his bright blue shovel? The poem tells us that Rony Crow would dig and sow till he made a little garden. He isn't just sitting around in a tree, you know. He's working so hard. You can just picture him digging into the brown earth, tossing dirt aside, getting everything perfectly ready to plant beautiful things. He's really using all his energy to make this wonderful, happy space. And, well, you know what happens when you build a wonderful, happy space, right? Everyone else wants to come and visit. And here comes our very first visitor. I absolutely love this part. The text tells us, "And the rat wore a feather in his hat, in Rony Crow's garden." Watch him scurry around in style. He's got this fancy little pink feather sticking right out of his head. It's just so wonderfully cartoonish and silly. While Rony Crow is busy digging away with his shovel, the rat is just showing off his fabulous fashion sense. What a hilarious way to kick off our garden party, right? Oh my goodness, wait just a second. We've got a huge, cuddly brown bear standing by the fence. But the poem says, "But the bear had nothing to wear in Rony Crow's garden." Oh, the poor bear. The rat has his fancy feathered hat, but this big brown bear doesn't have a single silly outfit for the garden party. What in the world is he gonna do? He's just standing there looking so confused, throwing his big paws up in the air. How is he ever gonna get dressed up for Rony Crow's amazing garden? Well, this right here shows exactly how friends help each other out. The very next lines tell us, "So the ape took his measure with a tape in Rony Crow's garden." Just picture that helpful, grinning yellow ape. He swoops right in like a cartoon superhero with his white measuring tape. He's zipping all around, measuring the big bear, so they can make him the absolute perfect outfit. And hey, did you catch those fun rhyming words? Ape and tape? The author uses these bouncy rhyming words to make the whole story sound almost like a catchy song. The ape helps the bear with his tape. It's perfectly clever. So the garden is getting even wilder now. We have this super funny comparison next. On one hand, there's a long-legged bird called a crane, and the text says he was caught in the rain. Imagine that poor bird getting all soggy and wet, shaking off the water droplets. But on the other hand, guess who else is hanging out in the garden? A giant whale. And what is the whale doing? The poem says, "And the whale told a very long tale." Can you just picture a massive whale splashing right there in Rony's little garden, going on, telling this huge, booming story? The contrast between a wet, grumpy crane and a super chatty whale is basically peak cartoon comedy. The garden party is still going strong, but we actually have a little bit of drama. The poem tells us, "And the beaver thought he had a fever." Oh no, the poor little beaver. Imagine him holding his furry cheeks, all shivering, thinking he's caught a terrible bug. In a busy, zany cartoon garden like this, there is always someone who needs a little bit of extra attention and care. But don't worry at all, because the garden doctor is in. And it's a goat? Yep, that's right. The text gives us this exact quote. But the goat said, "Bah, it's nothing but his throat." Okay, sure, I added the bah-ah part, but you get the idea. Picture this smiling orange goat with funny horns trotting right into the middle of our story. He marches up, probably sounding super silly, and reassures everyone that the beaver is going to be perfectly fine. It's just a little tickle in his throat. That completely breaks the tension and gets our cartoon garden right back to the fun. And that fun is spreading incredibly fast. The poem rapid fires through even more friends popping in. It says, "And the goose? Well, the goose was a goose. And the mouse built himself a little house, where the cat sat down beside the mat in Rony Crow's garden." Imagine that beautiful white goose just waddling around, quacking away, and that clever little mouse scurrying to build a tiny house by stacking up little twigs. As for the cat is just stretching and chilling out on a mat. Every single animal has their own funny little personality, their own cartoon action happening all at the exact same time in this one tiny garden space. I mean, just look at this massive list of friends. Can you believe how crowded Rony Crow's garden has become? Let's quickly count them up. We have the rat, the bear, the ape, the crane, the whale, the beaver, the goat, the goose, the mouse, and the cat. It is an absolute zoo in there. It's a complete whirlwind of feathers, fur, squawks, and squeaks. You can practically hear the cartoon chaos happening. Everyone wants to jump into this garden that Rony Crow worked so hard to dig and sow. But, when you have this many animals in one place, sometimes trouble sneaks in.
Wait a second. Let's look really closely at what happens next. The poem says, "And the owl was a funny old fowl, and the fox put them all in a box." Oh no. Picture that funny old owl spinning his big round eyes, watching everything unfold. And then the sneaky, sly fox appears. Watch him creep along. Right in the middle of all the chaos and fun, this tricky fox sneaks in and traps all our new friends in a box. The cartoon music would definitely be playing a very dramatic dun 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 right about now. What in the world is going to happen to all of the garden guests?
But hey, remember who built this garden? Rony Crow. Check out how this exciting rescue happens in 3 perfectly cartoonish steps. Step 1, Fox puts everyone in a box. Oh, the drama! But then, Step 2, Rony Crow, our hero, swoops right in. The poem says, but Rony Crow, he let them go. He uses his clever little crow claws to pop open that box and free all of his silly friends. And finally, Step 3, and they all sat down to their dinner in a row in Rony Crow's garden. Rony completely saves the day, the tricky fox doesn't win, and everyone gets to share a giant, yummy cartoon feast together, side by side in a long row. What an action-packed, incredible ending.
Now, let's slow things down for just a second. The absolute most important lesson of this entire amazing story is our value pick. It's simply this: teamwork and kindness create a happy place for all. And honestly, this perfectly shows exactly what we just saw. Rony Crow was kind enough to build a garden and let everyone in. The ape used teamwork to measure the bear. The goat checked on the sick beaver. And when that sneaky fox caused trouble, Rony Crow was kind and brave enough to rescue everyone so they could have dinner together. It wasn't just the flowers that made the garden happy, it was how nicely all the animals treated each other.
And that leaves us with a huge, super important question to think about. Looking at everything Rony Crow and his zany friends did, how can you use teamwork and kindness today? Can you help a friend like the ape did? Can you build something wonderful to share, just like Rony Crow's garden? I want you to think about how you can be a hero in your own story today by just being kind. Thank you so much for joining me on this wild, cartoonish explainer. Keep reading, keep smiling, and keep being incredibly kind to everyone in your own little garden.